All right, here's an interesting repair. So it's an Ovation. And when it came in, the bridge was lifted up in the back. These holes here for the bolts, nut and bolts, are here, and that was what was holding the bridge on. So all of this area in between warped up. The top of the body warped up right here and here. It had lumps, still does. If you look at the reflection of the lights in the top, you can see here is the lump, and there. So what happened was somebody put these bolts in. Where are they? Here they are. Put them in, and they glued them in. Looked like epoxy. And I guess they thought that this would hold the bridge on, but what it does is the bridge warps up from here to here, and it stays down there, but it pulled the top up. It even cracked the top because the finish is very, very hard, and yet it's brittle. It's actually it was like a fiberglass, because what happens is the bridge pulls up, and it pulls up the finish because the bridge is glued to the finish with some type of resin epoxy glue. So the finish stays on the bridge, but it pulls away from the top of the guitar, and the finish comes up with the bridge. And as I was sanding off the old finish, I could see that it was fiberglass. I could see all the fibers in it. So I glued a piece of 3-ply plywood to the bottom of the bridge after I cleaned and leveled the bottom of the bridge. The top here, what I did was this had a big hump right here and here. So I sanded this flat, and you can see this little ledge. So that's why I used the 3-ply plywood. Fits in there tight like a puzzle. And what had happened was someone epoxied these bolts in, and the nuts were epoxied too. So they obviously broke when I was spinning the nut at the bottom, and then I had to hang on a second, where'd it go? I had to Dremel down into this bolt to free it up so I could get them out of the bridge. So a little bit of the bridge was still attached, so I just slid my thin knife in between. And it does have these little Teflon standoffs or plugs. They're little keys, like a key, so that when they put the bridge on, they go here and here, here and here, to line up the bridge. But I don't really need to use them because all this stuff, it just fits in there real snug, like a puzzle piece. I did slide a little bit of super glue under this finish because this whole area of finish right here was lifted up off the wood. So I massaged some super glue in, and that held that down. Now I'll just have to kind of like buff this out a little bit. Let's see, and then the little ivory dots will go back here. I may or may not put bolts in, really don't need it. Once you're glued wood to wood, it holds. It's fine. You don't need nuts and bolts and screws. So when it came in, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna get this thing fixed? And I worked it out, so I'm sure it's gonna work. I've done this before. So, okay, goodbye.